Hey, everybody, welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. Yes, I know it's a strange hour, but I'm here. I'm here in Holy Week. Oh, my goodness. God bless you, everybody. God bless each and every one of you. It has been quite the week. I have been helping my father take care of his health this week, and we've been so blessed. Been so blessed. It's kind of interesting. This is an interesting segue into the show today as we look at the Democrats. They're fighting the oligarchy, and sometimes they're fighting each other. How will this what will this mean for 2026 and beyond? And more than that, for the American people. But I must give a shout out to Mayo Clinic. We've been here, as you know, many years ago now, almost 10 years ago. My father was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and Parkinsonism. There are different diseases under that umbrella. And people of every conceivable background from every walk of life have been so kind to us and to him. And with my whole heart, and on behalf of my family and all of the people who have loved him down through the years, I just want to say thank you. You've been so kind. From Brian in the kitchen, who's made cornbread for my father because he thought he would like it, and my father loves it, to Chef Michael and Chef Sadie, and got a soft touch for them because my grandmother was someone who served you food in the hospital. We're from humble working people. I just want to thank the doctors and the nurses and the physician's assistants, everyone. I wish everyone could have access to this kind of health care. But more than that, I hope that your life will pan out in such a way that people will bless you beyond measure. And that is what I'm seeing. My father's always said that you can't, maybe someone can't afford to pay me, but I can't afford not to be here because somebody needs to be blessed. And I see all of the blessings that he has showered upon people being showered upon him. And I just want to say thank you. Like I said, with my whole heart, I say thank you. And so let us begin, everybody. Let us begin. Let us talk about the people. More than $9.6 trillion of Americans' wealth has been lost since January. 401ks have been devastated. People have lost their jobs. And when you step back and look at the big picture, there's something more than Doge and these cuts. We've talked about America being in some real challenging space, some real difficulty, and I think that's it. Every time I hear Elon Musk talk about the urgency of these cuts, he said, because you don't understand, we're looking at insolvency. I don't like what they're doing and how they're doing it, but I think there's a kernel of truth in that. There's something that's going on here, everybody. And when you're in leadership, you don't say everything because you don't want to frighten people. Because, everybody takes challenging news in various ways, and most of us don't take frightening news well. So let's pray for our nation. Let's come together and let's figure out how we can come up with a more perfect union because that is really the mission, everybody. It really is. And let's think, I want you to think about the Bernie Sanders and now the Bernie Sanders AOC fight the oligarchy rallies that are attracting tens of thousands of people. Many of them voted for Donald Trump, but they actually also liked Bernie Sanders in 2016 because they were both seen as change candidates. No one else in the field was seen as change candidates, but Bernie and Donald Trump were. I didn't say you have to like Donald Trump's politics. You don't even have to like Bernie's politics. They were viewed as disruptors because people then felt that something was really wrong. Going back to the housing crisis in the early 2000s, the banking system that collapsed in 2008, things have been off. It didn't just start being off in January. So we need, look, we got some problems here, everybody. Last week, something momentous happened. I had Dr. Max Wolf on my show yesterday. Something fascinating happened. Something that the American media have not talked about. Terry O'Neill, President Emeritus of the National Organization of Women, and Lavonia Perryman, award-winning journalist, uh, radio, television, and veteran of really presidential and local and statewide democratic politics. America is no longer the number one economy in the world. It is now China. That is real. So the call that President Trump is waiting for from the president of China is not coming, because if you listen to their ministers and representatives in media that you really don't hear in the United States, they say we don't need the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Now the fact is we all need each other, and maybe they've got a little bit of swag, but we've had that too. So it is with this backdrop that the vice chair of the Democratic Party has a $20 million fund, and he is going to start primarying House Democrats who are not progressive enough. I said, that's interesting. Then you've got the AOC, Bernie Sanders rallies. Is she being launched into presidential space? I think so. What do you think of that? Or maybe this is to help lift her into the U.S. Senate. I think it's more than that. But what we're seeing Americans come out, show up, and show out. We're seeing Democrats who are fighting the oligarchy over here and fighting each other over there. How's this going to work out for 2026 and beyond? And more than that, beyond the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, independents, and everybody else, how is it going to work out for you? Who is going to speak for you? Hmm? When are we going to get some eggs?
Right.
I mean, when are we going to? I mean, Puerto Rico is in darkness right now. If that happened to us, how would we handle it? Because in this world, anything could happen. We just need to start thinking, everybody. But I just want to talk about the Democrats right now, because no one is talking about this House seat in Texas that is open. Now, while the
Yeah.
Democrats are talking about having a fight with each other, y'all need to fill Sheila Jackson Lee and Sylvester Turner's seat.
That's right.
We're short a vote in the U.S. House of Representatives. So I just want to know what everybody is thinking, because if I keep on talking, I'll fill up all this space. I got a lot in my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to know what you're thinking. And Bernadette, sending you so much love. Like and share. You all, no matter what time I come in, you all come on up, and I appreciate you. And all my friends decided to try and help me out tonight. Thank y'all. Hey, Daryl and Andre and Solomon, sending you so much love. Sending all of you so much love. So let's get to it. I mean, what you're fighting the oligarchy over here. Democrats are fighting each other over there. How is this going to work out? Is anyone going to push Governor Abbott to fill that seat, to hold an election? Not in November. You're going to have almost a year, Terry O'Neill, where that seat will be open. Almost a year. No one's talking about that. That should be part of the national conversation. It's not. So what are we talking about here? $20 million? Where did that come from? To primary House Democrats? Whew. Okay. I just want to know what is going on. So I'll just start out. I'm gonna go clockwise. So let me start with you, Livonia, and you all just keep on going. And poor Daryl, he's the only man at this time, and that's all right. We're not gonna beat up on you too much.
That's all right.
It's
We'll
all
take
right.
one.
That's all
I
it
just
takes.
want to share with you, like you said, is so much going on. And as you were talking, and let's think about it. 32,000. That's the number that they're counting that happened in LA with Bernie Sanders. 30 some thousand people showed up. That's the number they're talking. And then 30,000 other places, 20,000 here. That's not by mistake. That is organic too. Just so you know, there was not a long-term memo planning last year. We're going to meet over here. No, this was organic. This was people in pain, trying to turn their pain into power. That is exactly what's happening. That's what's happening with these rallies. And to have a young man like Bernie Sanders, just think about that. Young man, 80 years old, who said, no, the revolution will be televised. It will not be over. And if the young Turks can't handle it right now, I'm going to show them the way. And guess what? Within those rallies, when I was doing the research, many of the people in the rally standing up and walking were the young. So it is an intergenerational call to action. That's what's happening with the rallies, in my opinion. Intergenerational call to say, oh, if you're Democrats, if you're not going to do anything, or independents, you're not going to do anything, or if you're going to have a discussion, you cannot have a fight with a pit bull and walking around with a poodle. Democrats, you cannot. Let me repeat. A pit bull is at the White House, and you will not be walking up there with a little white poodle with pink ears. That is not going to work. It is not going to work. You have to be Bernie Sanders, who is the pit bull in symbolic ways. He said, I'm not going to wait on all the Democrats. He said, I'm not waiting. Waiting on what? He says, we are in America. His quote was, America is in dire straits right now, here and now, in real time. Then and let me give a few other examples. 217 Republicans recently, like yesterday, they said they want to eliminate, not cut back, eliminate Medicaid. Eliminate it. That's number one. Number two, last week, my sisters of all race, creeds, and colors, the Congress says and is saying, oh, you want to vote? Well, you may need to take back your maiden name and follow your husband's actions in terms of how he should vote. This is not something that does not happen. This is not the 1800s.
Is that crazy?
Last week.
Yeah.
As Bernie Sanders said, America is in dire straits.
And he also said, we are scaring the hell out of Elon Musk and Donald Trump with these rallies.
Yes, when you show up, if you show up and you're a pit bull, you see a bulldog coming. Yes, you can have a growling conversation. That's where we should be, Democrats. That's where we should be. Our conversation should be a roar of, we're not going to take this. It should be a roar. When you show up, they should know by the taps of the feet, the booming of the 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people coming into the cities, Detroit, Missouri, Kansas, Chicago, Georgia, Minnesota, wherever. They should hear us coming before we show up. That is what we should be doing. Democrats, do you hear me?
I don't know.
You say you don't know.
I don't know, because I mean,
yeah,
I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
one thing for sure, Bernie Sanders is not waiting to get the sanction or the permission or the endorsement of the Democratic Party. He is calling on the people. Democrats, independents, and Republicans showed up, 30-some thousand. That's just one point. Tomorrow it might be 50,000. And the momentum, the key is, and Bernie knows this, and everyone here knows this, the key is, what's the message? And will we be able to take this into 26?
Attorney Terry O'Neill, we're fighting oligarchs.
I know. I just
Fighting each other.
I just want to say 100% everything that you just said, Lavani, is just it's perfect. It's brilliant. I mean, and the Democrats, well, the Democrats are really at odds with each other. There is a progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which is not the majority of the people in Congress, Democrats in Congress, and then you have, frankly, the corporatist, billionaire, corporation funded Democrats. They are very different from Republicans. I don't want to suggest in any way that there's no difference, between the Republicans and Democrats. They are very different, but they're not different enough. I've said this before. I have the feeling that the majority of the Democrats and the Democrats who hold power, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, who still has a lot of power, and bless her, she should. I'm glad she has power, but what they are offering to the American people is that they will try to slow down the harm done by the oligarchs, right? But they have no intention of actually turning things around fundamentally, right? Capitalism in this country, as practiced in this country, is racist and patriarchal, meaning misogynist. So racist, misogynist capitalism is killing the country. It is killing the planet. And the Republicans are all for it. They want the oil and gas industry to gin up more, to create more damage to the globe, to make the climate crisis worse. That's the Republicans. The Democrats don't really want to make it worse, but they don't see how they can win elections unless they appease the capitalists. And by capitalists, I mean the people in Silicon Valley. And to be clear, the people with power in Silicon Valley are overwhelmingly white men who don't care about racism and don't care about misogyny. And those are the people that the majority Democrats in Congress feel like they need to appease. So they keep trying to make things easier on all of us who are not billionaires without angering their funders too much. This is not, I mean, and that's the real problem. It has, in my view, it has nothing to do with the fact that they're old. It may be that they don't really see a way out of this conundrum that we face. But so having said that, I think the real problem is we need to recognize that capitalism is not broken in this country. It is operating as designed. It is designed to make most of us second-class citizens, if not third-class citizens, while a very thin stripe of people at the top, overwhelmingly white male suburban Californians in Silicon Valley and Wall Street guys, that they're going to be making all the decisions. The Project 2025, what Elon Musk is doing with his Doge people is laying the groundwork to privatize all of government functions. The chainsaw, the sledgehammer that they're taking right now is simply to destroy all of the taxpayer-funded government functions so that it can be outsourced. In Tennessee, where I live, Core Civic is a for-profit prison system whose stock price went up 30% in November after Donald Trump won the election. Why do we think a for-profit prison system has its stock price go up almost by a third? It's obvious. They're gonna control the population through abusive policing, taking away all of the benefits, including Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, things that we work for, things that we put money aside for in our paychecks every month. That's what they're trying to do to us. What we need are Democrats who will say that and refuse to take money from Silicon Valley and offer a way out. Bernie Sanders is offering a way out. Elizabeth Warren is offering a way out. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is offering a way out. I'm not convinced that David Hogg is. I think he's very impressive. He's a 25-year-old. That's great. But if all he's going to do is be a young person beholden to Silicon Valley and the oligarchs and the corporations, we don't need him. We don't need that kind of that is not doing anything that we need. We fundamentally need people. We need to get away from the capitalism that is racist and sexist and is killing us.
Well, Terry, next time tell us how you feel.
I know, right?
I mean, that part. Well, you know what, Daryl? Uh, let me just hop over you. Just you're our guy. I love you, but Ariel was about to do a holy dance. She was like, "Yes, amen, amen," and 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 plus, someone wants to know where your bow tie is, so you don't have to go get it. I You can't make this stuff up. Somebody said, "Where's your bow? Where's that bow tie, sir?" Okay, all right. So, but Ariel, I mean, what was it about? What did Terry say that resonated with you?
First of all, I heard Livonia saying like you don't bring a poodle to a ball, and the only thing I just couldn't have, what I was thinking of was those little ping pong paddles that they brought to the State of the Union, and I was like, oh no, don't worry about the pit bull. We got ping pong paddles with little feet on
Was
them,
that the dumbest thing ever?
right?
Oh.
When we needed a baseball bat.
That's right. That's right. We have ping pong paddles.
Oh.
I heard Terry talking about David Hogg, and yeah, he's an amazing 25-year-old, 26, whatever. But this is not the solution. We have shown that this is not the solution. We did not lose the election because we didn't have enough money. That's not what cost us the election. We had plenty of money. There were fireworks going off left and right at that convention hall, and we had superstars singing and fancy speeches and this and that. And we had TV ads. We had all the money that we could have wanted. That's not what cost the election. It's integrity. It's integrity that we need. We need integrity. We need to be fighting the battles that we're fighting because we really care, not because we've decided that some consultant told us that if we message this way, they're going to like us, but because it really matters to us. And, I'm in Philadelphia right now, and I'm here because I'm part of a Passover Good Friday action tomorrow, where a bunch of us are planning an arrest. And I'm like, where are the politicians? How come they're not storming, they're not storming the offices in DC? They're showing up with little ping pong paddles. I don't want to be the only one putting my body on the line. I elected you. We elected you. Go do your job. Fight. Do your job. We didn't elect you to keep it safe and make sure that prescription companies don't get too angry. We elected you to fight when everything is on the line and it's this bad. And that fight isn't money. God bless David Hogg. But it's not going to be won at the bank. It's going to be won in the ballot box. It's going to be won in the streets. It's going to be won with integrity. And God bless Bernie Sanders and AOC showing up with integrity.
Oh, Ariel, the pink, look, the bat, the poodle, the pit bull, Terry and the socialist. Lord,
Well, this is what happened at 9 o'clock.
Will I be on the air on Monday? We'll see. The ping pong paddles. I've forgotten all about that because I had to get up on the screen and go, "What is this? Are you?"
Wait.
Look, I can't make this stuff up. And of course, we're just going to have the two guys pulling in the rear, but that's all right. I'm not mad. Okay, Daryl Jones, Attorney Daryl Jones, on what radio station? WOLDC, every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time with Attorney Barbara Arnwine without his bow tie tonight. Let's give him a break, y'all. Okay.
This is a tieless night. But I'll be back tied up tomorrow. Okay.
Oh my word. Okay.
I listened to all the conversation that's gone on, with regards to the infighting in the party and what's going on with the party and the move that's going on and the current status of what's happening with Senator Sanders, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, And I say this, I am so excited for the Democratic Party because right now they are beginning to find their legs. They're beginning to be the conversation. You know, what are we going to be? How are we going to form? How are we going to fight? That's what I believe that we're beginning to see formulate now. And you know, and I always take this personal point of privilege, Santita. I got to thank my Senator Chris Van Hollen because you know it's not about your age, right? It's about your commitment. It's about the fight. It's about getting in there and fighting. And what did Senator Van Hollen just do? He just went down to El Salvador to see about his constituent. And now he's had the opportunity, as we speak, to meet with the constituent that was down there. So, you know, that's the type of fight that I think that we're looking for coming out of our Democrats that are in Congress. And I think we see that now, you know, beginning to come out from Senator Van Hollen, from Senator Booker, from, you know, AOC, from Congressman Al Green. We're seeing that starting to flourish. One of the big things that I've always pushed for, and you know, I think David Hogg is growing. He's going to grow. Okay, and I think that it's important that, you know, we talk about the money and the $20 million and all this other stuff. That's an important aspect if you're going to be part of the Gen Z push to have younger people coming in, because they're going to need that money to be able to get into place and to be able to run for those offices. So, you know, I'm hoping that that adjustment is made with regards to the learning experience about, you know, it's not just the money, it's the issue. And it's not just the issue because the issue also requires the money, because you got to get the message out there. So I'm hoping that you know really does take flight. And you know, I think that Lavanya was right on the point when she was talking about the pit bull and the poodle. But I changed it just a little bit, right? Because you can have your pit bull, but if your pit bull doesn't have the heart to be in the fight, give me the poodle with the heart to be in the fight. Okay, I mean, what we're looking for is the fight that's in that dog, right? And what the party needs now, what the Democratic Party needs now, are folks that are going to step up and be that fighting pit bull or that fighting poodle, whatever it takes to fight for the constituency and to fight for the cause of the principles of the party. I don't believe that we need to be of one accord with regards to, you know, everyone, not being progressive or, you know, I think the party is better when we have moderates and we have progressives and we have, you know, all those in between, because I don't think that we need to be of one like mind. I think that we need to bring our personal perspectives, our different perspectives, and that's how we'll get the best out of our party. You know, we can't be the big tent and say everybody's got to think like this. So, you know, I believe strongly in being that big tent, but I also believe very strongly right now in this point of where we are, that we're the opposition party. The Democrats are the opposition party, and they've got to continue to fight and do all that's necessary to protect their interests, because we know that the pit bull that's in the White House that's pushing forward, you know, we know what they're going to do. And so we have to be certain that we're, you know, not simply meeting the force with the force that's there, but we're exceeding the force that's there, and we're bringing the people with us, because that's going to be the biggest part of this, is what the people do. And the whole hands off, that's a large part of what's feeding into all of this. And, you know, it's going to be, I think, a really good day as younger voters get energized from what they're seeing from the leadership that's now beginning to take root and to stand forward. I think all of that is going to grow, Santita, and as that grows, that, you know, we will see emerge from that some very strong Democratic leaders. And I agree that there are going to be some Democrats that may have been around for a while, and I'm not saying any names or any places, but they're going to be challenged because, you know, that's the moment that we're in. We need people that are going to stand up and fight, not people that are going to back down and you know, and sit back to see what's happening.
Well, I hear you. You know, but you know something that you just said that made me think as I bring up Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds, who is leaving session, and he is driving from Austin back to Houston. You know, $20 million, where did that come from? See, because the grassroots people I know can't raise $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about retail politics, not just retail is, you know, giving me something, you're selling something that I want. And it's very difficult, you know, when you start off with that much money, with I don't know where it comes from. You don't need people as much as you do when you have no money. Because when you have no money, you have to get out here and organize people, talk to people, massage people, bring them in. When you have money, you can throw deals at people. And that's where I think we have to be very, very, very careful. We this that is, that is something that I want to know where it comes from, and I wish him. Let me just say, I want him to have the best of intentions. Let me put it, because I'm at a point in my life where I'm not, and my mother will say, no, I would say, God bless you. My mother's like, no, don't bless. No, give people, say Godspeed. You don't ask God to bless some things. Not that I don't wish him well, but I'm, wondering just all this, whenever I see these big money drops in these organizations, I'm like, whoa, wait, what is this? Because I know freedom fighters, Dr. King caught the devil trying to raise money. I know Medea Benjamin, she's not flush with cash. I know Reverend is not. Terry, you haven't been. It's too hard to raise. If you don't think getting $1 from someone is hard, let alone 10, 100, 1,000. What? So, but I hear you, Daryl. I mean, because you need the poodles and the pit bulls, and you need the poodle with the heart of a pit bull, and you certainly need the pit bull not to be a poodle. So I'm with you. I'm not mad. But Representative Ron Reynolds, you know what no one's talking about? The unfilled seat in Houston. I mean, if you put some of that energy into, look, while you're going after these Democrats, go after the governor of Texas. The whole party, Livonia, Terry, Daryl, and Ariel, they ought to be going after Governor Abbott. They ought to make that
if I may interject that the $20 million, keep in mind, and I was not going to say, but I am going to say, remember, we, the people that look like me, we are not able to raise $20 million right away. Just think about it. Understand what country we live in. Welcome to America. That is not what we can do. But this young man doesn't look like me.
I get it, but from whom?
But that's the privilege of who he is.
And but I'm just saying, even 20 million. But where did it come from? Where?
Right.
Because now, mind you, he's better able to get it from somebody.
Yes.
The economy is collapsing.
Right.
Okay. Let's keep it 100. And so when people talk about, I raised all this little money from people, I'm like, people are living for payday to Monday. You're not raising money from people because people ain't got no money.
He may have raised 20 million, but I gave away $5 to somebody on the street who needed it the other day.
That part.
Right. And what Daryl just said, and you just said it, Santina, is that there is a issue and a problem that money can be used in the right way in Texas. You see where I'm going? That $20 million, you said, okay, we have the $20 million. The young man is over here. And you said, Daryl, hopefully he can learn and hopefully he can donate to issues such as the one we're speaking on right now. That situation in Texas, like it or not, they need dollars and cents to move the needle towards a successful campaign.
I just simply asked the question because because it could go another direction. I'm really tired of all this money popping up. And I realize that's like the lifeblood that's a mother's milk of politics, but I think it's just dangerous. I mean, that's all I'm saying, y'all. But wait a minute, let me bring on Representative Ron Reynolds because he's driving Livonia.
Right, Santita. I love the commentary, and I think it's such a fascinating topic. When I was reading some of the headlines, it struck me as that I think that it's a two-sided coin, and I understand where Daryl was coming from. When I think about as an elected official being primaried, that is never anything that you are excited about, because you're like, hey, why can't we focus our energy on and efforts on going after the Republicans? But sometimes, Santita, there are Democrats that grow complacent, that aren't doing what they need to do to advocate for their constituents, and a primary is a litmus test to see if they should be reelected. So I never run from a challenge. And so if his motivation is to go after Democrats that are complicit, like when I think about those Democrats that caved to Trump and hurt us with well, first of all, when they did the in the House, when they moved to censure Congressman Al Green, I was very disappointed in those Democrats that had the audacity to do that when they never did that to Marjorie Taylor Greene or anyone else. And then those Chuck Schumer on the Senate side, when those Senate Democrats caved, I felt some kind of way about them. So I understand sometimes there may be a need to primary people, but I don't think age should be the litmus test. There are a lot of older Democrats that are fighting the good fight, right? I don't want them to. I don't think that they should be targeted. Daryl mentioned some great folks' names, and I also know that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, and there are other like Al Green. He's 70, 76, 77. So is David Hogg going to target him because of his age? So I think it should. I don't think there should be an age in terms of why you're targeting people. So I think this young man, I met him before. I hope that he has some people around him with some experience that can give him some wisdom and share some wisdom and knowledge with him, so that we aren't wasting that $20 million, Santita, that you rightfully point out that most people who look like us aren't able to raise, right? So I'm saying two things. One, I'm saying it's good to have people on their toes where they know that there's no safe seats when all you're going to do is just sit there, or you're going to be complicit with the opposition. I mean, in this case, I'm talking about the MAGA, the people who aren't for the values of working families and the minorities and the poor. But if that's the case, then yeah, no matter what their seniority is, they need to go. But if you're simply going after people just because you want some fresh blood, I think that's misaligned, and I think we should focus our attention on going after people where we can gain, because our goal is to get a majority, a blue trifecta, in to be able to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the George Floyd Criminal Justice Act. So there's so many things, Medicaid expansion in different states, raising the minimum wage. I mean, I could go on and on, codifying Roe versus Wade, women's reproductive rights. So the point I'm making is that this young man, I think that he has a lot to learn, but it's fascinating that he's able to raise so much money, and then I hope that he can utilize it for good and not to cause internal strife within the party. Not because people are being challenged, but because if you're targeting people just because of their age. Maxine Waters is up in age, but I guarantee you I would take her over a lot of these young freshmen any day, okay? Any day. So
Well, I hear you.
I just wanted to be clear about that.
No, look, age to me is not the issue. And I was just putting it out there about the money. I'm not so sure Ariel with her left-wing politics would be able to raise $20 million.
No.
So I just, oh, okay. Yep.
I agree. I'm not know where that money's coming from. You said you came in here for change. Let's be transparent, because one of the things that I worry about, and he's a brilliant young man, but is this just a career ladder, or is this your heart? Is this your passion? Or because Bernie's in this fight. We all know why Bernie's in this fight, because he wears it on his sleeve. He's in this fight because he wants to build a better world. So are you looking to build your career, or are you looking to build a better world? And it's been for a long time now that there's this fascination with youth. And I just want to know what's so amazing about having less experience than your elders.
Look, let me tell you something. Go on, Terry. Because honestly, the most popular elected official in America today is still Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
The objection to President Biden, God bless him, and I mean that sincerely, was not his age. That was always a lie from the corporate media. Everyone knew that he was in cognitive decline. That was the problem. That is why FDR hid his physical infirmities from the American public. He didn't think it was going to wear well. Right? I mean, this is John Kennedy was on crutches most of the time. I get it. And I mean, all I'm saying is, I was just asking Terry, I'm just like, where's the money? Because if we're going to change. I saw him lifted up after the Parkland shooting and articulate, brilliant, all of that. Then I saw him at the correspondence dinners because I've been blessed to be going now for the trajectory that people get put on when they get pulled out, lifted up. I saw it at the DNC meeting that Ariel snookered me into coming to. Man, I said, this is interesting because it was very clear when we walked in the door he was going to be vice chair.
Wow.
That was clear.
Cool.
And so, okay, I'm just saying, I want a new way. And you know what? I know that you need money in politics, but primarying who for what? Well, you know what? Look, and some people deserve to be primaried. I'm with you, Ron. Some people, please get them out. Yeah. I just want to know who's being primaried and why. And if this is going to lead to victory in 2026, 2028, and if this is going to give them relief to Americans. Terry O'Neill.
I was just going to say, I mean, David Hogg was quoted saying that he would not go after people just because they're old. For example, he would never try to primary Nancy Pelosi, I think, or Jan Schakowsky. On the other hand, he failed to criticize Nancy Pelosi's refusal to support a ban on members of Congress engaging in insider trading. The stock trades and Speaker Pelosi is a very, very active. She's very, very active in the stock market. That troubles me. It goes back
that's
to
nice.
what Ariel was saying about integrity.
You said she's very active?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she's she's a very active trader apparently in the stock market, and she very, very strongly opposes proposals by Democratic lawmakers like AOC to simply say, if you're a member of Congress, you cannot trade in any stocks that have anything to do with any part of your purview. So if you're on this kind of a committee, you can't trade in stocks in that industry. If you're on this kind of committee, you can't trade in stocks on that. I mean, that hits Nancy Pelosi really strongly because she's in top leadership. So basically everything, and I get that she may not like that, but I think it does speak to integrity. There has to be a division between the people who are making laws to try to regulate big business and the big businesses themselves. So when David Hogg simply says, I'm not going to try to primary Nancy Pelosi, well, that would be a waste of his $20 million. That would never win. But he doesn't say, I would never, primary someone like Maxine Waters, because she fights the good fight for all of us every single day because she has integrity. She has been attacked without grounds so many times during her service in Congress, and she gets banking. She's a member of the banking committee or whatever in the House. I'm just saying that I would have felt better if David Hogg had said, I wouldn't go after someone like Maxine Waters. I certainly wouldn't go after Bernie, and I wouldn't go after Speaker Pelosi. If you'd be a little more inclusive, that would have made me feel better.
Okay. Ultimately, Livonia, do you think this is going to help going into 2026? I mean, I'm all for robust debate, right? I mean, where do you see this going? I mean, you've got the fighting the oligarchs. You've got, I think that, we ought to have the space to call each other out. There's no question about that. I'm just trying to figure out where, given your experience, and it is substantial,
Well,
Where do
one
you
thing
see
for
this
sure,
going?
right now, they're as Daryl has said, the Democrats are finally attempting to find their footing. And this is where we are. This is nothing's written in stone. Terry, I would say that, did we ask Todd about the list? Should we demand a list? As Democrats, we should ask 20. Where'd you get the $20 million? It's a question. It's not a question of attacking him, but if we want to know, we do what you do here every day. Ask. Ask, and at a point you urge, at another point you demand. It depends on the level, but we're right now trying to find our footing because we were caught, well, let me not say caught off guard. We were not guarding democracy in the way we should as Democrats. I mean, we missed the messaging. Whew. Like you said, Ariel, we had so much money. It wasn't about the money. It was about the heart, soul. Were we going to protect it by any means necessary? Malcolm X? Were we, and are we? And somewhere along the line, Bernie Sanders has said, got up one morning and says, I'm going to do a tour based on the Malcolm X theory, by any means necessary. And he said, this is what I'm going to do. So that's his box. There's another box, hands off, that march and rally. You know, I had difficulty about that. Difficulty was, well, what's the message? And what you're going to do afterwards? I mean, like, okay, we out here, but did you send us home with an assignment?
An assignment.
An assignment to protect one another's community.
Wait a minute, Livonia, hold on. Hold that thought. What about everywhere Reverend has gone with you and Terry, down through the years, Ariel, you've had a voter registration registrar.
Yes,
Exactly.
He wouldn't leave a place, Daryl,
no,
without getting people registered to vote, Livonia. I mean, I interrupted you, but you're
that's
right.
okay.
It's the assignment, but it's like, what's the assignment? I mean, I
What
know
is the
when I see Medea, Code
Yes.
Pink, I got an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
I got an assignment.
Right.
I know. I mean, oh no shade, no joke. I know with her, I know I'm probably going to get arrested. I am.
And let me say this.
No. And I say that with love.
Yeah.
Because she's saying, wait a minute, there is an issue. I need you to be here and you got to be willing to put your body on the line. Yes. I'm willing to go to jail over this. And this era when they are disappearing people, that is a pure act of courage.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
just every time you get arrested, it doesn't have to go well. It does not. Mm-hmm. So she has an assignment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Latasha Brown gives you an assignment. There's some people that you get assignments. Daryl, I mean, you and Barbara talk about voting till you're blue in the face. I'm blue in the face because I can't breathe anymore. I'm not. I mean, I say that with love. We need assignments, and if you're going to gather this many people, now at least register people to vote.
Yes.
Oh,
right. An assignment. And the thing about it, even if I could get personal with it, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. today, if he had 4 people in front of him, one being me, he would, you all know this, before you leave his presence, he's going to give you an assignment. Mm-hmm. He is, I mean, in the situation he is in today, Reverend Jesse Jackson is going to give you an assignment.
Go wait. He's getting examined yesterday.
That's what I'm talking about.
On Monday and Tuesday, he's scheduling a meeting with the president of the Mayo Clinic because he said, I'm concerned about these kids not getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
See?
So I need to meet with him because a place like Mayo with your reputation, somebody needs to say something. Right. He can't help himself. I'm like, can we take your test now? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
assignment. It's a challenge, and because the assignment, you are expected with the assignment to have some sort of action to come after that. So 30,000 people, even with Bernie Sanders, assignment should be, what is the message? Am I coming home to just, cook out of my crock pot? Or am I going to make calls to the individuals who are not registered or should be registered, who didn't vote? Because we know who they are.
Well, you know what? I can't believe this time has passed after I called you all, screaming my head off like an hour ago, like, oh my gosh, help me. But this has been a blessing. I'm going to give everybody a minute, but I want us to think about the assignment, because really, people out here, I can tell you with my experience over the past week in particular, everybody on this panel is a fighter. And I want you to know I've met the people who we're fighting for. And they need us now more than ever. These people have no voices. They're living from payday to Monday. They don't have $400 a month for an emergency.
Right.
And they need us more than ever before. And we've got to take what we do very, very seriously. Not ourselves seriously, but the assignment seriously. Get out your own way. And that's what's getting me, because I'm with you, because we need to know, like, what's up. And before you have a holy dance moment, Ariel, I'm going to give you your closing thought, because she is like in the script, like, I'm mad at you.
I got an assignment for tomorrow. A bunch of us are gathering in front of Lockheed Martin outside of Philadelphia and King of Prussia. Say, this Good Friday, this Passover, not in our name, stop arming Israel. So yes, there are assignments. And I was thinking back to that hands-off. I'm glad people are getting out. I have never seen a protest I didn't want to join. But I was like, what's the ask? Like, what are we asking for? What are we protesting for? Not just like we can show up in the streets. And I kept wondering, well, why aren't we protesting outside the Democratic offices? What's your congressperson doing?
Right, exactly.
All right, your congressperson's doing what? Andy, I'm a Jersey girl, and Senator Andy Kim, he voted to block the weapons sale to Israel. God bless him. So I would not be banging down his door, but there are plenty, right? That was the protest that needed to happen. That is the protest that needed to happen. The do your job. I elected you. And that's an assignment, to hold our elected officials accountable and demand that they that they go to work like they're the ones facing deportation.
1 minute for everybody.
Yeah.
Livonia?
Once again, I think that the assignment, there's one for everybody. If we could use the platforms that we have, the media platforms, the podcast platforms, letter writing, post office, write, read, protests, and Facebook every morning. If you just got up and said, we are not going to take this anymore. The revolution is going to be televised. And my assignment is to make sure that my folk in my neighborhood, my community, my city, my state are going to be represented by qualified, passionate people. And I'm going to be here to stand in the gate for them. That's the assignment.
Attorney Terry O'Neill.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need is those assignments. I went to the Hands Off March here in Nashville, and I'm glad I did. It was great. But I saw signs that said hands off Social Security. And I thought, no, not hands off Social Security. Expand and improve Social Security. Social Security desperately needs to be expanded and improved. And then I saw another sign that said hands off my body. It was a woman. She was talking about her reproductive health care. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Roe v. Wade was already overturned. We do not have reproductive health care in the state of Tennessee. Don't say hands off that. Give us a real commitment to actually codifying Roe v. Wade in the federal Congress, which frankly, too many Democrats have used that as a messaging piece of legislation, understanding that it will never pass and not really putting their heart and soul into it. And what about voting rights? Hands off voting rights? Are you kidding me? You think we have voting rights here in Tennessee? We do not. We need to get back the voting rights. The Supreme Court has case by case by case has taken away voting rights for people of color right here in the state of Tennessee. So yeah, the hands off was good and it created a lot of energy. But yes, we need to push push the Democrats to not just do messaging laws and messaging acts around voting rights or women's rights or access to Social Security or wages. I mean, we really have to pressure the Democrats to focus on those issues that most of us live by and that overwhelmingly are supported by people, not supported by corporations or billionaires, but definitely supported by the vast majority of people in this country. That's what we have to be focusing the Democrats on actually supporting it, not just lip service.
Attorney Darrell Jones, you'll wrap this up as you and the good representative from the great state of Texas have been the only guys on with us tonight. So, ladies, we're going to give him the last word. Might be the first and last time that ever happens to him in his life. All right.
Thanks so much, Santita.
Wait a minute, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday on WOL in DC. All right, take it away.
Thank you, Santita. My last word, I think, is this. Don't give up. Dig in. And that's where we are right now. We need to dig in. There are going to be a lot of reasons that are going to be thrown at you to want to give up, to want you to just throw your hands up and say, I've had it. No, that's the time to dig in. The assignment has got to be certain that you're registered to vote. Start right there, right? Be certain that you become part of an organization that's working on an issue in which you believe. Get involved with that organization. Be certain that you participate. The hands-off rallies and all the other rallies, I think they're wonderful. You be the person that say, are you registered to vote? You be the person to say, is this your issue? Come join us. That's what we need right now, are for people to step out on their own. Don't wait for leadership to come down to tell you what to do. This is something that goes from the bottom up, from the bottom up. It goes from the bottom up, from the grassroots to the sky. It begins with us. It ends with us. We can do it, but we've got to be certain we know our assignment to get involved in our issues, get off the sidewalk, because if you're on the sidewalk, you're just watching the traffic going by and you're paying attention, get in the street and stop the traffic. That's what we need right now, is for people to get off the sidewalk, get into the street, and get involved. Check your voting status, and everybody that's involved in your family and your friends, have them check it to it. And let's be certain that as we move along in these rallies, in these protests, that we're certain that everyone that's there is registered to vote and knows their voting situation.
Well, that's all, folks. This is it. It's about knowing the assignment. In these uncertain times, guess what? You need to know the assignment. May God bless you. Our Muslim brothers and sisters just had a holy season of Eid. Ramadan. Jewish brothers and sisters, Ramadan. And of course, Passover. And and we've got Easter. All of these three, and there are many great religions of the world, but three of the religions that many of us hang our hats on come together at this time. And we thank God for that moment. And let us come together, everybody. And know the assignment. And the assignment first is to love one another. That's not a suggestion. It is the assignment. And you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. You're supposed to stop by the side of the road and help somebody get up out that ditch. And they shouldn't look like you. They shouldn't be like you. That's your test. Don't fail it. They shouldn't be you, but they are you. Because the same God made each and every one of us. Remember that. Whether you're in or out of faith, we all come from the same creator, the same creative force, if that's what works for you. So know that assignment. Let us love one another and let us fight for one another. I don't care what party you are in. Why don't you just be in the human party? How about that part?
Hmm.
Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs decent housing. Everybody needs the opportunity
Yes.
to flower into the person that God sent them here to be. Just start fighting for people. Stop fighting people and start fighting for people. How about that? That's part of the assignment. May God bless you. Happy Passover. Happy Ramadan. May God bless you in this Easter season. For those of you who are Christian like me, may the Spirit of Jesus and the lessons that Jesus taught bless us all. Bless us all. We got to learn to love one another and come here and be a fighter, just like Jesus was. Fighting and occupying power. Turning over the table in the temples because people weren't acting right. Come on.
Mhm.
You got a temple in your own life. It might be the school. Might be something, I don't know what it is, but it's something that's not right, and you need to have the courage and the spiritual maturity to confront it and make things right. So, happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Ramadan. May God bless everybody. Each and every one of us. I feel like it's what is it? One of the Christmas stories. I love you, everybody. I love you.
Anytime.
God bless you. Amen.
Thank you.
And to my crew,
Amen.
thank you for coming through tonight. I love you. The Santita Jackson Show, AM 950 Radio, the
Thank you,
voice of
Santita.
progressive Minnesota.
All right.